You're still locked in at your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And of course, if you have been paying attention to the show, you'll know what that theme is, and it's coming up right now. So every year we get to celebrate World Spine Day on the 16th of October. And this day shines a light on special health and the promotion of physical exercises. And now we are encouraged to look after our spines, as it is one of the most important parts of the human body.
Undoubtedly, we both discovered this with a lot of personal journey over the last couple of years. It has a direct impact on your overall health and your well-being. Here to tell us more about the importance of World Spine Day for #Health Tuesday is our chiropractor and now good friend, Dr. Kevin Lentin. I hope our postures are both right. Notice that we both kind of sat down with it.
Taking note, I'm watching.
Doc, great to have you here.
Thank you.
We've both had been through the ringer, in fact, with our own spinal health, so I understand the importance of it. But I think every time I talk about what I've been through, someone says, oh, I had that, oh, I had sciatica, I had issues with I had a slip disc. It seems like it's such a common thing, which really does reinforce the importance of World Spine Day. Why do you think it's so important?
Well, you know, they say that there are two types of people, those with backache and those that are going to get it. So it's talk about a pandemic. Well, this has been around for decades and decades. In fact, thousands of years. There's reference to the importance of the spine and how the spine can spoil your day if it's not functioning optimally all the time. And so it's fantastic to have a reference point at which one can focus on spinal health, because there is such a thing as spinal health. We know about health for the cardiac system and the respiratory system, but spinal health is something we don't really pay a lot of attention to until it goes wrong.
For sure.
And then it's often catch-up. You know, it's hard to get back to normal once you've had a significant spinal injury.
Man, it's a domino effect. Once it goes wrong, the spin-off is crazy.
Truly, you really are highlighting a lot of your weaknesses. But just to draw back to the actual day, because, I mean, the spine is such a complex thing as it is, and there's so many various components and parts of it that do these different functions. But the whole World Spine Day, what is the point of it? Why is it themed specifically to the spine? Is there anything else that carries weight with it or anything along those lines?
Well, because it is such a global problem, the World Federation of Chiropractic has highlighted and tries to bring attention to the spine. There's so many role players from all sorts of professional modalities that treat and diagnose and manage spinal conditions, right from some of the more esoteric levels to massage, to chiropractic, to physical therapy, then right into the more allopathic medical conditions, the spinal surgeons and those people that sometimes have to get involved. So somehow we have to focus attention onto the importance of the spine. And so World Spine Day is all about doing that. It's been around since 2012, I think, was the first time that they highlighted on a more practical level the importance of the spine. And so now through this World Federation of Chiropractic, it's an annual event in October, specifically on the 16th of October this year. And it's to bring attention to the spine. It's to highlight the importance of posture, spinal health, looking after your spine, being aware of what to do, what not to do, all the components that play an integral role in spinal management, if you like.
So you brought your backbone with you. Thank you for doing that. Maybe this gives us an opportunity to look at what the spine actually does.
Yeah. So the spine is made up right from the very top. Here's your head sitting up at this part and what's called the pelvis down at the bottom. And the pelvis is the foundation on which the entire spinal column, the vertebral column, sits on this foundation. And so we start right up at the very top. Underneath this skull is the very first vertebra, and then you have 26 vertebrae that make up the whole spinal column or vertebral column. And the spine has these joints between the actual spine, so between each vertebra is a little link. It's called a facet joint. It's what it gives you mobility and allows you to twist and bend and move. And it's these little joints that actually provide the majority of spinal problems. Because just like any other joint, like you can sprain your ankle, you can sprain a wrist, you can sprain your spine. There are three real conditions that will affect your spine. One is you can have some serious medical pathology. You can have infections, for example, quite rare, and we don't see a lot of that really. Then, of course, you can have these disc-related problems, which is the little shock absorber that can herniate, or you've heard of a slip disc, and you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about. Also, relatively limited in the occurrence of back pain, but by far the majority of back pain is caused from mechanical things. Mechanicals is the joints and how the posture, the position, what you do to your spine, how you lift. Even stress that you might be experiencing can have an impact on the musculoskeletal system as well.
I'm glad you mentioned muscular, because that's a big part, I think, of the rehab and correcting afterwards. We know that it's all big, one big system. No part stands individually.
Yeah.
I want you to think about relief, because I think a lot of people are like, okay, I understand you, but I need relief from my back pain. Help me, please. We're going to continue our discussion with the doctor in just a moment. We are talking about spine and back health, overall well-being on World Spine Day. At least that's celebrated on the 16th of October, an opportunity for all of us to look at our own back pain and hopefully find some relief.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as we continue with our health topic this morning with chiropractor Dr. Kevin Lentin. He's still in the house and we're trying to get back on track. That is the theme for World Spine Day, celebrated on, and I say celebrated with a bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, on September or October the 16th, because many of us have experienced back pain, but we want to prevent that. Yep. But I think a lot of us just want some kind of relief. So maybe that's where we can start. I asked you to think about, and obviously we know that some conditions will require a certain level of treatment, but if we are experiencing back pain that is not absolutely chronic or too severe, how can we relieve back pain?
Well, I think the first thing is prevention, of course, and that's just being careful. It's just being aware of what you're going to do before you're actually going to do it, so that you don't make these quick, jerky movements, lifting heavy weights without really trying to engage various muscles to give you the support. So number one is just being aware of what's coming up. Number two, of course, is posture. And we spend a great deal of our time sitting, usually at a desk or driving or whatever it is, and that puts tremendous pressure onto those little joints that I was referring to in the earlier segment. So posture, stretching is very important. It's something that very few of us do enough of. Most of the activities that we do tend to shorten muscles. We sit hunched over, even with very ergonomically designed computer stations and chairs, we still don't often use the equipment correctly. So we sit forward, we end up rolling our shoulders, we end up in forward head posture where your head is forwardly mobilized, which means that there's strain on the muscles, and the joints actually take the pressure, they take the strain of the whole thing. And so stretching is something that's not utilized enough of. We like to strengthen, we like to perspire and sweat when we go to the gym.
Yeah.
So posture, of course, there's some other basic things like your mattress, for example, plays a significant role in the pressure on those joints. So having a mattress that's not too firm and one that's also not too soft is important. And then I think, of course, it's so important to ensure that there's enough strength and core strength and stability around the muscle. So a combination of the appropriate stretching and strengthening to support and splint the spine, if you like, to protect it.
Yeah, and just to reinforce what you said about picking things up, mine started picking up a box while moving, full of books, and that started 6 months of the most incredible pain that I've ever experienced in my life. So it can be as innocuous as that. So you've got your spine here. Maybe you can give us an example of what is going on in the spine when we are sitting or standing with the wrong kind of posture, and then how it'll look when we're standing with the right kind of posture.
Sure. So we have actually 4 curves in the spine. You've got your head up here and your pelvis down here. You've got a forward curve. Obviously, this is the front side and the back side. You have a forward curve where your neck is. You have a backward curve across your shoulder blades, a forward curve in the lower part of your spine, and a backward curve across the buttock area. And those curves are designed to act as a shock absorber so that the spine doesn't take the strain. If your spine was like a broomstick, literally straight,
the pressure would be immense.
It would literally crack the joints somewhere in the middle area here. So ensuring the proper posture helps to ensure that those curves are maintained. When you're lying down, then there's the least amount of downward pressure onto the joints. As soon as you sit upright, it actually doubles the amount of pressure. When you sit and you twist, it quadruples the amount of pressure.
Wow.
So twisting is a major factor in injury of the spinal joints or even these what are called herniated discs, often referred to as a slipped disc.
Sure.
It doesn't really slip. It kind of herniates a bit like toothpaste squeezing out of a toothpaste tube. Goes into the little opening where the nerve comes out off the spinal cord, and then you get what you've experienced, is that extreme pain. If it's in your neck, it'll go down your arm. If it's in your lower back, it'll go down your leg. But as I mentioned earlier, that is not the greatest amount of conditions that we see as chiropractors. We see more mechanical pain, which again is related to lifestyle, posture, stress, strain, driving, sitting incorrectly, sleeping posture, all those sort of things. So the beauty about chiropractic is that we don't only look at the joint and the spine itself. Obviously, we cater for all sorts of joints, knees and elbows and shoulders as well. But we also address a more holistic approach to looking at what could be the underlying problem. So often, as you say, the final thing of lifting the box, which is when the real
scale's tipped,
but quite often there's something that has been predisposing there, whether it's repetitive strain or ongoing use of the spine, inappropriately bad posture, or even stressful events can precipitate it.
Well, it just obviously then reinforces the idea of preventing it from getting to that point. And if you do need to see someone, go and see a chiropractor and get that expert advice, and always think of your system as being just that, a full holistic system. Nothing operates in isolation. But
absolutely,
hopefully you've picked some interesting tidbits out of today's discussion, and you are going to celebrate World Spine Day with a very healthy back this year.